Hi, everybody. This is Lara Poulios with Estrela Consulting, and I'm really delighted that we have Courtney Winstead, who is the Assistant Director of Admissions at American University, joining us today. We're really delighted to have him. So Courtney's going to provide some information for all of you who are interested in AU, and then we'll just do a little Q&A and talk about the school. So Courtney, I'll turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. Again, my name is Courtney Winstead. I'm the Assistant Director of Admissions at American University. I primarily work with students from Ohio. So if any of you have any questions afterwards, I'll have my contact information toward the end of the presentation. Please use me as a resource. Reach out to me via phone, email, whatever is most convenient for you, and I'll be glad to help. Today in the presentation, I'll be covering, what we can offer you at AU, things that you can do at AU, student life, things like that, and then a bit about our application process. All right, so we'll jump right into it.
Yeah.
And to give you an idea about how far AU is from you, depending on where you are in Ohio, we're about a 5.5-hour drive and about an 1.5-hour plane ride. And where is AU located in DC? So we're about 4 miles from the White House and the National Mall. This really provides our students with ample opportunity to explore DC, explore different cultures, as well as job and internship opportunities as well. And we'll get into that a little bit later too. All right, so as you can see here from our school demographics, we have just over 8,000 students within our undergraduate student population. We have an average class size of around 23 students with a student-faculty ratio of 11:1. And we have 32% students of color. All 50 states are represented and 123 different countries represented as well within our student body. So very diverse. Not only where students come from, but languages spoken, socioeconomic backgrounds, and all the sort. All right, so your first year at AU. At AU, we make it a priority to connect you with a peer advisor or a first year advisor. With your first year advisor, you'll meet with them once a week. And essentially what these meetings look like are helping you with the transition from high school to college, helping you understand what resources are here at AU to help you best succeed, as well as building out your schedule and essentially a 4-year plan to keep you on track. With our AU core classes, they are to reinforce lifelong learning skills that'll help you along the way. And then these classes are aimed to help you become critical thinkers, again, reinforce lifelong learning habits, as well as being able to answer and ask questions from different approaches, as well as examining different issues such as power, bias, and equality. With these classes, you're really prepared to have tough conversations, and be able to engage in civil discourse as well. All right, so we have 6 different schools and colleges at AU, and I'll go into a little bit about what we offer in each of these schools. So I'll start off with the College of Arts and Sciences. This is our largest and most diverse school, houses 50 majors, as well as our pre-med program. Next, we have our Kogod School of Business, ranked in the top 25 for earning an undergraduate degree in business. Within this school, we also have an entrepreneurship incubator. So if you're interested in starting your own business or just have an idea at least, you'll be paired with mentors, AU alumni to help you get that business venture off the ground. And there is a School of Business specific career center as well on top of the career center that we have for the university. Next, we have the School of Communication. Here, students can learn the entire spectrum of what communication is. There's plenty of opportunity to work and get hands-on experience with state-of-the-art equipment that you'll be using in the field. Next, we have the School of Education, which these courses here are designed to help students make the jump from student to teacher right after school. It's also important to note that there is a 100% placement rate for students that graduate from our School of Education. And students also don't just go to become teachers, they also go to work for nonprofits, government organizations, or do different education policy work. Next, we have the School of International Service, one of our more popular programs, ranked in the top 10 by Foreign Policy Magazine for earning an undergraduate degree in international relations. Within this school, you're prepared to have a global mindset. And within the school is very interesting because all students will have a degree in international relations, but you can really personalize it by choosing two thematic areas and focusing that on a specific region of the world. And a lot of our students do study abroad within the particular region that you have your focus in. And then lastly, we have our School of Public Affairs. Being in the DC area, of course, one of our more popular programs. Students here have the opportunity to major in justice and law, politics, legal studies, economics, and much more. All right, so as I mentioned before, being in DC offers our students a lot of opportunities for jobs and internships. As you can see here on this slide, at least 91% of students have a internship before they graduate. And again, going back to speaking about the Career Center, our Career Center does a really good job of building relationships with other organizations and companies in the DC area or in the DMV area, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, to get those companies interested in looking for AU students. So I really recommend, using this as a resource. They really also offer mock interviews, career or cover letter workshops, resume building. They'll have AU alumni come back, speak to students, and help them prepare for the job market as well after graduation. All right, so next we have study abroad. Also another popular option in AU. About 70% of students at AU take advantage of doing study abroad. We have 160 different programs that you can choose from in 50 countries on 6 continents. The only continent that we don't have study abroad in is Antarctica, but other than that, you can study all over the world. You can really personalize your study abroad experience however you want to. You can do semester long, you can do year long, you can do summer break, winter break, spring break, whatever you want to do, you can do it as far as study abroad at AU. Also, another important note in regards to study abroad, your financial aid does travel with you when you decide to study abroad. So what you're paying for classes at AU is what you'll be paying for classes abroad as well. All right, so next we'll talk a little bit about student life. At AU, we have cultural clubs and organizations, professional clubs, organizations like Model UN, Pre-Law Society. We have 150 student organizations. We also have fun organizations or clubs that you can get involved with. We have an AU Cheese Club if you really like different types of cheeses. We have AU Gamers. As you can see, we're a Division I school in the Patriot League. We also have club and intramural sports you can get involved with, as well as sororities and fraternities. About 25% of our student population is involved with student sororities and fraternities. We have social, religious, and professional sororities and fraternities at AU. All right, so in regards to housing, we have 12 different residence halls that are on campus, as well as 16 dining locations. And we do offer living and learning communities, also referred to as LLCs, on campus. And these are the different communities that we have. So community-based research scholars, our Frederick Douglass Distinguished Scholars Program, our honors program, and some of our different special academic programs as well. All right, so here are our admission deadlines. We have early decision 1, which has a deadline of November 15th, early decision 2, and regular decision, both with a January 15 deadline. As you can see, we take both the Common App and the Coalition app. As you can see, high school transcript, SAT or ACT scores. We are a test optional school, so it is not required to submit a test score. I often tell students, if you feel that your test score, SAT or ACT, does not truly reflect your ability in the classroom, go test optional. The test optional option is really there to only help you. There's only benefit with going test optional. We also have recommendation letter, the resume or activity report. Here, I recommend, list out anything and everything that you can think of that you do outside the classroom. That can be starting your own club organization, leading your own fundraiser, or, babysitting a younger sibling at home. Whatever you do outside the classroom, list that. We want to see it. Application fee or the fee waiver, secondary school reports, your guidance council recommendation, and the application essay as well. All right, so going into a little bit about financial aid, we offer both need-based financial aid and merit-based financial aid. So going back to the need-based financial aid, we accept both the FAFSA and the CSS profile. The FAFSA is responsible for any government, federal government financial aid, where the CSS profile is responsible for any institutional financial aid. So that's any aid that comes from American University. And then we also have merit financial aid as well. When you apply to American University, you are automatically reviewed for our merit scholarships. The only merit scholarship that does require a separate application is our Frederick Douglass Distinguished Scholars Scholarship. That is our full ride scholarship. What that application looks like is 3 short essay questions that you'll do in addition to your application for admission to AU. Other than that, you'll be awarded or you'll be reviewed for merit-based scholarships. About 35% of students are awarded merit-based scholarships, and they range anywhere from $8,000 to $28,000 per academic year. All right, and lastly, here is my contact information. Again, please use me as a resource if you have any questions. After the presentation, feel free to shoot me an email, give me a call, and I'll be glad to help.
Thank you. Thank you. I have questions, if you don't mind. I've got some questions for you.
Yeah.
All right. So a few things popped into my head. The first being great that you're test optional. And when a student chooses to use that option, how does your application review process adjust for that? Is it kind of an equal weight on everything else, or how do you account for that?
Yeah, so I would say we do a holistic review. So I would say, if a student does not choose to submit their test scores, we just take equal weight to looking at GPA, looking at class rigor, looking at any activities that you might have been involved with. That's not to say that you need to be involved in anything, outside the classroom, but, we'll look at that. Essay, supplemental essay, recommendation letters as well.
Okay, great. And you also mentioned the Honors College. Is that something that a student would have to apply for separately, or are they automatically considered upon applying?
Yes. So for the honors program as well, students will do a separate application for that. The deadline for that is December 15th,
Okay.
which is our priority deadline as well. And again, similar to the Frederick Douglass Distinguished Scholars Scholarship application, 3 short essay questions that you'll answer. The application is totally independent of your application to American University. So I'll often get questions, if I apply to the honors program as well as AU, if I don't get into one, does that mean I don't get into the other? The answer is no. If you apply to honors program and AU, if you don't get into the honors program, that does not mean that you will not get into AU. You still have opportunity to get into AU, even if you may not get admitted to the honors program.
Okay, great, great. All right, so I want to ask about the area a little bit because I love DC,
Yeah.
and there's just so much going on there, obviously with government, but also just business and public health. And how does the university tap into those resources and kind of bring what DC has to offer into the education you're getting there?
Yeah, so we'll bring in speakers from different organizations, government agencies, nonprofits to come speak to classes. We also have a community service program called Explore DC, where students can go out into the community, help with beautification projects around the city, help read at local libraries, local schools, things like that. And students can get involved with this the summer before their freshman year at AU. Um, our career services office, like I mentioned before, really goes out to do outreach with different organizations and companies that are in the area, bring them to campus to meet our students, either it be through internship fairs, career fairs, coming to classes and speaking to them. We have the Department of Homeland Security right across the street, so we really tap into them for internship opportunities. Also, too, American University is the only university in Washington, D.C. that has a partnership with the Metro in the area. So students get something that's called a U-Pass. Technically, this is a card that gives them free unlimited access to go in and out the city via our AU campus shuttles, the Metro bus that goes around DC, Maryland, Virginia, as well as the Metro train that goes around DC, Maryland, Virginia, giving our students ample opportunity to go into DC, explore, go to internships, jobs, whatever it may be, and it doesn't cost them a dime to do that.
Oh, wow. Fantastic. Well, then that kind of begs the question. So that's great that there are all these experiential opportunities from an educational perspective, but what's it like on the weekend there? Are students going out into the city for social life, or do you find that majority are on campus, or is it a
Yeah, yeah. So it's a little bit mix of both. So at AU, we're a traditional campus, although we are in DC. We're technically in a more residential area called Tenleytown. And we have our campus housing that's right on campus. So we'll have students that are staying on campus, but then we'll also have students that go out into DC, maybe go to different restaurants, explore DC, things like that. So you really get a mix of both at AU.
Great, great. And then you mentioned study abroad, and you said what, maybe 160
Yep,
countries?
160 different programs.
It
Yep.
was a lot. Do the majority of students take advantage of that?
Yes, so majority of our students do study abroad. We have about 70% of students that take advantage of doing study abroad. And I would say that is really because our study abroad office does a good job of helping students understand that study abroad is an option for them. Oftentimes, we'll have students that think that they can't do study abroad because they maybe haven't traveled, outside of the country or maybe even outside the state beyond coming to AU for any type of recreational travel. But they do a really good job of, walking them through the process. This is what it will cost. This is what you can expect. Here are the classes that you can take. All your classes transfer over. And they, like I said before, they do a really good job of, walking students through the process of preparing them to study abroad.
And are all majors eligible to study abroad?
Yep, all majors are eligible to study abroad. No matter what major you have, you can do study abroad.
Okay. What are your most popular majors there?
Yeah, so more popular majors, I would say, are political science, international studies, biology, English, and literature.
Okay.
Mhm.
Great. Well, that's all my questions. Is there anything else about American that you want to share?
I would say coming to AU, it really is a hidden gem within DC. There's so many different opportunities that you can take advantage of, experiences that you can have. Not that long ago, we had Malala on campus. We had Anderson Cooper on campus. We had Justin Trudeau come to campus at one time to speak to our students. We actually had John Lewis come to campus as well. And like I mentioned before, being in DC, our university does a really good job of reaching out and getting other companies and organizations to come to campus to specifically look to AU. So all that to say, when you come to AU, when you're a student at AU, your degree really has value.
Great. Well, thank you so much.